Over 500,000 people are killed by trains across the country every year, or something like that, a lot of people. And because people go around them, and the train, some are unprotected, the crossings, so the train lets out a little horn just to make sure that you don't try to cut across those beams that are crossing down, which everybody tries to do at some point or the other, because they assume the train isn't really going to hit them. And it does once in a while. So God bless the trains, and they're pretty sound at night. Enough said. Enough said. We have a guest, Vicky. I bet you don't think you're ever going to get on, do you?
Nope.
Well, it's my program. I do all the talking. Okay, we got with us Vicky Matteson Burdick. She is the CEO for the Jamestown area Community Credit Union, and she is going to talk a little bit about unions and give us some idea what the difference is between them and the big banks, which have all gone under twice now in my time. They went under in Reagan's time, and he paid them all off and said, well, this will never happen again. Of course, it happens every few years on a cyclical basis. The management's managed to steal all the money, and then we give them money, and right now they're giving themselves giant bonuses and stealing it back again. It'll take about 20 years, and then all the banks will go bankrupt, and they'll say, we can't let them go bankrupt, it'll ruin our economy, so we give them another $1 trillion. What the heck? It's a great cycle. Buy a bank. Actually, what you do is buy two banks, and then you let one go to hell, and the other one you keep as a survivor. And the one that goes to hell, they pay you for. And the other one, you still got your good bank. This is not a credit union's problem. The credit unions are more, they have a little more integrity and honesty, I believe. I'll ask Vicky about that. Anyway, Vicky, what brings you up here to Chautauqua County?
You do.
Okay, well, I know, but you originally didn't come from Chautauqua County. I can tell by your accent.
Actually, I am from Pennsylvania originally.
Okay. Uh-huh.
My family grew up in Cordon, Pennsylvania, which is now under the Kinzu Dam, and we were displaced to New York because of the government seizing our land and having us move to New York.
So they seized your land. I hope they paid you a decent price for it. That's a big deal. They don't usually.
I was just a child at the time. I'm not sure what my parents received, but that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story.
Whole nother story. We're here for credit unions.
Well, of course, the problem is the government is now allowing people to, they're grabbing people's homes and lands and selling them to private business people say, I'd like to have that place for my business.
Absolutely.
Which is considered constitutional according to the Supreme Court. I don't know how, why, whatever. It's like the taxation, Taxation was to cover government costs. Well, now they're using it to change behavior, like in New York State. The huge taxes on cigarettes.
Yep.
Well, my cousin, who's our current assemblyman, Bill Parliament, stood up and carried on about that, how it's immoral, what they're doing with the taxes. Of course, New York State, everything they're doing down there, I think, is immoral. The only one who I'd re-elect down there is Kathy Young. I think all the rest of them are bums, and the New York State government is being run from Albany. And you're probably, from New York City, really. Everybody who counts is from New York City, and I bet you feel that in your business. Okay, now, you hear a credit union. What is a credit union?
A credit union is a not-for-profit financial institution. It is a cooperative, and basically you as the member, when you join, own the credit union. You elect the board of directors. The board of directors are all volunteer. Credit unions are run by volunteer boards, volunteer committees. The only paid people in credit unions are your staff. And our purpose is to make money for our members.
This reminds me of the ad I see all the time on TV. I saw it yesterday where there's two guys. One guy has a great big huge packet, a purse or something he's carrying with him, and he says to the other guy, the other guy says, what's that for? And he says, well, I'm in a big bank and I get so much money, I got to carry it around in this great big thing to take to my bank. And the other guy said, well, I'm just in a credit union. He said, well, it's too tough on you, you don't make any money, right?
Well, technically that is correct. A bank's job is to make money for its shareholders, and all of its profits go to the people who have bought into the bank.
And for the directors,
and for the directors,
and the president, those captured by usually by the
they make huge money, huge bonuses.
They swap money. They give each other huge money.
Yep, and it's pretty sad because that board controls the CEOs and the big heads of the banks. They control their salaries, and likewise, they control the director salaries.
And they control the board. I mean,
Right.
the president and all the management, they control the board. So the board will do whatever they want them to. They say, well, I want a raise, you know, give me a
Exactly.
big bonus this year. Oh,
Exactly.
but we went under. Well, that doesn't matter.
Doesn't
I still
matter.
want a bonus.
Yep. In credit unions, that board gets paid zero. They get absolutely no compensation, other than at Christmas time, I do take my board out to dinner and, give them a little gift for all their work. And one of the important things or differences between banks and credit unions is credit unions are all local. Only local people can be members of that credit union. All the dollars are local. With a big bank, and I can think of several in this area, they're owned by foreign companies, foreign countries.
The Arabs own one of the banks, HBSC or whatever it
Yep,
is. I
yep.
know the Arabs have a big hunk of
And
that.
so why would you want to put your money and your funds and with a foreign country? All the profits from those banks go back to foreign countries. And so credit unions actually started back in the Depression because unless you had a lot of money, you couldn't use banking services, but yet you had needs. And so back in the Depression, credit unions were formed as cooperatives. If you had a little bit of extra money, you would put it in the credit union, and if you needed a little bit of extra money to get by, you would borrow it. And so it's always been people helping people. That is the premise that we have for credit unions.
Now, wait a minute. The directors, you say, board of directors, they don't get any money?
Zero.
Zero. Well, what do they do it for?
I think because they're, like me, passionate about helping their community. I have directors on my board that have been there for 25 years, 30 years, and they're passionate because they know the good that we do for all members, not just senior citizens, but we have members that their accounts were started when they were born. And now they're having their own families and starting accounts for their children. And we helped them get through school. We helped them buy their first car, their first home. And it's kind of a family thing. Credit unions tend to be family oriented. I look at my members, and especially my senior citizens,
Now, what's the name
as
of your bank?
family. Jamestown Area Community Credit
Now,
Union.
you have an office, I know, in Westfield, because I've seen it.
Actually, in Westfield, it's Interlakes is the credit union in Westfield.
There are two of them in Westfield, as a matter of fact.
That is correct. In the Mayville area, it's Greater Chautauqua Credit Union. And most credit unions have an area, a geographic area that they
How
cover.
big an area? Is it 5 states or
Oh, absolutely
one state,
not.
one county? What
Not
is it?
even a state. The most that you could have as a geographic area under our current regulations is usually a county.
A county.
A county. So I don't even cover a whole county. I cover Jamestown, all the way to Randolph, part of Chautauqua or Cattaraugus County. So we have this little niche of probably a 20-mile radius from Jamestown, and that would be my field of membership.
Okay, now, you have to overlook these. One of the government routines is every Friday, after the market closes in the afternoon, the government descends on a bank, everybody carrying briefcases and boxes and things, goes through it and announces this bank is under. And it's going to be taken over by somebody else. You know, it's like the big fish gobbling up the littler fish.
Right.
And has this happened in any of your banks?
Not locally, because most of the credit unions in our area are very sound, very well run. I can't say that on a national level that there haven't been smaller credit unions merged in with larger credit unions, but credit unions are more highly regulated than the banks are. So we're very restricted in our fields of membership. We are audited. My particular credit union has an audit by the federal government every year, and then we have 4 audits internally by an outside auditing firm to make sure that our policies and everything we do is safe and sound. We are not into commercial lending. We're not into business lending. We are there to take care of people.
What do you loan? What do you loan?
We do mortgages, auto, personal. We can help you with that $500 loan you need to replace your washer and dryer so that you don't have to go to rent a center
But you
and
don't have
pay 3 times
500,000.
as much. Will we lend you 500,000? Absolutely not.
No way.
No way. It's not happening. I think the largest loan, even on mortgages, we kind of restrict them, a mortgage to under 200,000 for a mortgage. So if you're buying a multi-million-dollar house, we also would not be in the market to do that for you.
And you don't loan, you don't make risky loans either.
Absolutely not.
Where they don't have nothing down and it's well beyond their ability to pay, which is what caused the depression we're in now, they say, by the big banks.
Right, and the funny thing is credit unions have always been regulated against being able to do that. By our regulation, we have to be no more than 90% loan to value, so you would have to have a 10% down payment on the house. Your debt to income ratio can be no more than 35%. So
whatever that means.
Well, it means that your income versus your expenses, you can't have more than 35% of your income outgoing for expenses.
For your house.
Well, for your house or for houses, credit cards, autos, we look at that ratio to be at around 35–40% tops, because you have expenses, that are not included in that.
Well, the rest goes to taxes.
Yeah, you have taxes, utilities, food, clothing. I mean, we're only looking at your installment debt, your car, your mortgage, credit cards. And another thing with credit unions, and I know a couple of the credit unions in our area do offer them, our credit union has a policy of not offering credit cards because we feel that people abuse them and get themselves into financial trouble.
It's like gambling. If you can't control yourself. Now, I live by credit cards because I get 2% back on everything I buy.
Right.
Everything I
Right.
buy. And I pay it off before it expires. I get a little reminder from them, it's due.
Right.
And I've never paid a fine or for a late payment or any of those charges, which are horrendous, I might add.
Yes.
Until the government got after them. I guess they calmed them down a little bit.
Well, actually, that's not true. When the government made the regulatory changes to the credit cards, it actually hurt the consumers. Because the banks are prevented from doing what we call abuse fees, feeing customers who abuse the credit card by being paying late or being over the limit, or there are a number of abuse fees that are no longer legal. But what happened is, to make up for that income, everyone, a consumer like you who always pays their bill, their rates all skyrocketed. So the government had good intentions per se that they were going to protect the consumer, and in the end they really hurt the consumer.
Right. Because my rates don't go up. I don't pay
Well, you don't pay it because you pay it off every month, but not everyone's in that position.
And they're really messed up.
Yep. So people who had maybe a 5.9% credit card, they're now paying like 20%. And the other thing, we have a limit. We can charge you no more than 15% on a loan, regardless of the type of the loan or the risk.
No users. No usury.
No, but the banks, they don't have that rule. They can charge you 30%, they can charge you, whatever they want. And not that credit unions really would have the philosophy of doing that, because our goal is to help the little guy. That's what we want to do.
Well, I've noticed when I sign up for a credit card, there's 25 pages of fine print. And you've got to listen while somebody tells you. They mumble on for about 5 minutes, reading rapidly, and anybody who can figure out what they're saying legally, and secondly, remember any of it or understand it, is impossible, especially for a senior.
Yep,
and one of the little sections in that, I don't know, numerous pages of fine print, is we can screw you to death and do anything we want to you, period, whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
Basically, it says that. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But basically, we can change all these things whenever we feel like it.
True.
And basically, so you have no contract or agreement at all.
They can change anything with a certain, whether it's a 30, 60, 90-day notice. They can change your rate for no reason. And so, they kind of get someone in there with what we call a teaser rate, and it's a low rate, and it's a great deal. And then 90 days later, it's like, well, we're raising your rate, and it can skyrocket. And at that point, you can't afford that debt anymore. And we see a lot of that. And unfortunately, we're seeing it with seniors, because they, of all people, have not had to deal with these type of issues. They're not as, educated as maybe the college student who is always trying to figure out
Maybe
how
they're
to
not quite
get
as fast,
something now.
fast in their footwork either.
Well,
you know?
I don't think that, I think senior citizens tend to be more trusting, and